because I know this isn't going to be a 1 week message. It's going to be a couple of weeks dealing with this passage of Scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. But as I was thinking about what we had been going through with the lessons from the wilderness and the series on Wednesday nights, looking at Israel and looking at what God was doing to teach them, to prepare them for the promised land. Of course, we know they made the wrong choice. They didn't have the faith to trust him to go into the promised land. They wandered for 40 years. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, we have a passage here that really helps us understand what went wrong with their particular situation. And not only that, but admonishing us as believers that we ought to be careful, because we can also fail like they failed and miss the will of God for our lives. Now, it may not be as dramatic. You may not be in a desert somewhere, wandering around, not knowing where to go. But many Christians, I believe today, are basically wandering in a spiritual wilderness, not really knowing the will of God for their life, and never will really know the will of God for their life. And that's a pretty sad state to live in. And that's basically what it's talking about here in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and giving us some admonition about that. And so we're going to look at this, look at the first 13 verses of this chapter, and then we'll get into this. I'll start on this message today. I'm not going to finish it. We'll work through this over the next couple of weeks. So it says here in verse number 1, it says, "Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat that same spiritual meat, and did all drink that same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock